Happy Friday. Beat the banks from Beacon DeFi. I'm your DeFi professor, Professor Chris. And we're going to talk about a couple things today. Title is Narratives and Research. So, do a little bit of that today. So let's talk about what we've talked about already, past couple of weeks. If you happen to follow us, again, feel free to follow us at all of our socials. Let me hide this banner. Let me pull up there. There we go. We're on Facebook, IG, TikTok, Twitter, Rumble, YouTube. Have our website, beacondefi.io. Say that really fast, beacondefi.io. Feel free and come and check us out. We talk about a variety of awesome things every week, trying to help you as a crypto curious or fintech curious user. What can I do to earn passive income in the crypto space? That is available through blockchain investing, ladies and gentlemen. There are multiple blockchains. In fact, there's more than 200 active blockchains that are out there. That can be a very overwhelming number for those of you who are first getting started. But let me tell you, we have a lot of really good things to show you to help kind of mitigate that. And that's, of course, through our fantastic website, or rather our free group. Let me share the right screen. At our free group, Total Value Locked, school.com/beacon. And right now, one thing I definitely want to push for those of you who are looking to learn a little bit more about decentralized finance and all the fun things you can do, we're looking to do some community engagement through the game SolForge Fusion. This is what's called a turn-based card game. Check it out here at solforgefusion.com. Shout out to the team at SolForge Fusion. They've been very nice to us here at Beacon and wanting to help make this a reality. We're going to have monthly tournaments. We're actually going to be giving away money to come over and prove yourself as the best SFG player through multiple campaigns. I've already done several of these campaigns. If you check out my personal Twitter, you can actually look at some of these. And I've streamed it 3 times actually, because I did it last night till about 3 a.m. That was a long one, but this is one half of the founders of this group created Magic the Gathering. If you're familiar with that turn-based card game, you can play this in person or online, which is great. If you play it online, you can purchase digital cards. They are NFTs that can be upgraded with different traits, and every deck is unique, as they say. You can build your collection between 4 different factions and play along. So if you're interested, join our free group, school.com/beacon. Check out the post that talks about it. Set it up, check out our free content, and from there, let me know. We'll get you a link to a free booster pack. So if you like these types of games, let me know. We're looking to I already have at least, I think, 6-7 people, almost a dozen, who have given me their words. They want to get in here. They want to chop it up with the best of the best with SolForge. All right. But school.com/beacon. So one thing that I want to talk about with regards to narratives and research. So what have we talked about so far? Let me put myself back up here. So, let's see. We talked about DeFi principles last week. We talked about DeFi savings accounts 2 weeks ago. Right? We talked about security as well, being safe in this space, what it means. Yeah, DeFi savings account. Wow, that was 2 weeks ago on August 15th. And I think for a lot of people, that's probably the place to start, right? You're buying crypto, or you've heard about stable coins with this new Genius Act that's come out, and you're like, well, what can I do to really just kind of get on chain, right? So if you go check out our content, you know that we recommend Coinbase as the first centralized exchange to consider. Kraken, Binance, Crypto.com also within that list, depending on where you are in the world. And for a lot of people, that seems to be the most relatable. I will tell you, I've been in this space I've been in crypto since 2011. I've been in DeFi since 2019. This has been my full-time career since 2021. I've helped onboard tens of thousands of people into decentralized finance. Very proud of that. And when I first started, I did nothing for an entire month and a half. I wanted to research, understand what was going on, and life was much different back then. But the first thing I did was I went to a savings and loan, a place where you could, lend and then borrow to try and get into some of these what we call yield farms, because you could earn a yield not only for just supplying your money, but in some cases you can also be paid to borrow, depending on the situation. It doesn't happen all the time, but back in April of 2020 and January 2020, there was a lot of things you could do back then because Aave was giving out sick incentives to pay you to borrow, as lots of liquidity kind of rolled in. They're now larger than, like, if we had they're in the top half of the largest banks in North America now. Aave is. They have nearly 60 billion in deposits. So that just kind of tells you how far it's come in the last 4 years specifically. So congrats and shouts out to the Aave team. So savings was like one of the easiest things for me to know, because I'm not a huge trader. I've done trading. I'm frankly not that great at it. I don't like to stare at charts. I'd rather do other things than stare at charts all day. But I understood the idea of the struggles of trying to get a loan. Right? You walk into a spot, like a bank or a credit union. What do they want? They want all of your information. They want to know your name, your number, your social security number, what you do for a living, what's your credit score, with regards to your credit worthiness in order to pay. And then you have to talk to a loan officer. They have to drop docs. It could take up to a week. Who knows how long? And then the money comes into your account. Could take up to 3 days for that to appear. And then now you have a loan that you have to pay back over a certain amount of time. Right? It's a time-based loan. You don't have to worry about that in DeFi, because as long as you have collateral, you can borrow against it. No loan officers, no brick and mortar visits, uh, no time estimates. You just have to pay back your loan with the interest rate that's on top of it. And in some cases, based on incentives, that can be very low. In some cases, that can be, the point where it's a little crazy to pay for that. But what can you do with that? Once you take out a loan, like let's say you take out the loan for other stable coins, you can go farm that at a bunch of places and learn and earn in excess of 20, 30%. Those are the kinds of rates that are unheard of. Am I right? If you're listening to me right now, this is your first time you're listening to me. What is the rate that your bank is giving you for any type of savings? Because if it's less than 5%, if it's less than 3%, it's less than 1%, you're doing it wrong. You are, because all of these institutions are already on chain, and they've been here for a couple of years, to be quite honest. And they're here to take their business models on chain and pass off those costs to you. You still have time. We're still super early in this whole economic landscape. I almost said wasteland, and that was the wrong word to use. But you're able to actually come and grab your space here. Part of your journey, this journey of what we call self-custody. And what does that mean? That means your keys, your crypto. That means you get to control your money. Like if, for example, if you have, let's say you have five, let's see, for most banks, let's say you have 10K, right? And you want to take out all 10K. They're not going to let you do it. Depending on the bank. Maybe if you're like in a big city, they just might have you covered in the vault. They may or they may not. Either way, it's going to take a couple of questions to a bank manager, a vault manager, to kind of make sure that they have the liquidity to actually give you that in cash. This depends, right? We can say technology's changed a bit, so it's not nearly like that. They may digitally just deposit into your account. There's that, right? Actually, we're cashing out. Never mind. So you don't have that on chain, right? You can move it to another account. You have control over your funds. You can move your funds anywhere you want. You can stake it anywhere you want. You can remove it anywhere you want, as long as it's. There are certain vaults that have a specific cooldown, like you have to wait 24 hours. Could be up to 5 days. It just depends. Certain vaults have a time lock on it to help prevent against bank run type activities. Stuff like that you can't change. You just have to know about that. Reading the docs is good, right? You should always do your research when you're going to invest in things. But I did want to bring up a couple of things that are kind of in reference to narratives. So we'll do two things real quick. I'm going to show you one specific protocol where I think there's going to be a lot of movement with regards to narratives. And you can kind of see some of the rates. Get an idea for yourself on how this works. But the key is getting your money into the system. And that's where CEX is, for the most part, are still part of that narrative, right? Now there are protocols you can use, like Stripe. PayPal, I think, has a facility for that now, where you can pay with crypto and buy crypto, and then I think you can move that to another wallet account depending on where it's at. MoonPay certainly has that. There's a couple other onboarding apps that will do that for you. But they all have some fees attached, right? Anywhere between 3 to 5%, depending on what you're bringing over. You may not love that, but it's just kind of par for the course. There's a lot of purchasing of crypto that still takes some time. For example, if you go to Coinbase and let's say you want to ACH send or wire over, let's say 50K to buy Bitcoin. You can buy the Bitcoin, but they're not going to be able to let you use it until that money has settled. And there's still that. So there's still some things. But once you're in, you're good to go. I want to say shout out to Solana. Where am I going? I guess I'm going to have to bring it up. No. So, let's talk about Jupiter, one of my favorite protocols. Hey, congrats. So why am I talking about Jupiter today? So Jupiter's at the center of a really interesting narrative. A couple of big narratives that are going to fuel a lot of what we call retail money coming back into the system is about interoperability. So up until about, let's call it a year ago, there was a lot of silos here in this space and what we call decentralized finance. It's called decentralized because no country owns it. You can move your money around freely. You are self-custodying your assets. You're in control of all that, right? Whereas if you use a centralized exchange and centralized finance, for example, like Coinbase, You deposit your money, it's there. You actually, that's not with you. You can withdraw some of that to a hardware wallet, for example, or like a desktop wallet, and then that's with you. But when it sits on Coinbase, it's at Coinbase. They're the ones making the fees off of you when you stake for 3 or 4% or whatever that it has for certain assets. So you want to be in a position where you get to be that bank. You get to get the 6%. You can get way more than 6%, by the way. But let's look at Jupiter real quick. Jupiter, in my opinion, has done one of the best jobs of moat building. And when I say moat, that is like creating an ecosystem that is their walled garden. Apple has a fantastic moat when it comes to mobile phones, right? If you want to talk to somebody with a blue bubble, for example, an iMessage, you're gonna need to have an Apple iPhone. There's some apps that are only available on iOS. There are some apps that are only on Android. It goes both ways, but there's a little bit of a moat there where they're trying to build something so they can keep you in a one-stop shop. Jupiter has been doing this for years. Big fan of Jupiter. Full disclosure, I'm a longtime Jupe staker with their Jupe token. And ultimately, they have as many services as they can muster that are well liquid within their system that they want you to use. The newest one, which is pretty new, it's still in beta, actually, just came out this past week, is lending. Now they've been looking at lending for quite some time. We covered it on our Wednesday flagship podcast, our Beacon TVL podcast, that they had partnered with Instadap, which is an EVM based protocol. So now we have true cross ecosystem liquidity bridges. Now we've had that from a couple others, but to see it at this level is great, right? So soon, because they're building their own cross ecosystem mesh called JupeNet, probably Q1 or Q2 2026, it's not gonna matter what blockchain you're on. You're just gonna be able to use Jupiter services, and that is what they're looking to do with this narrative. They are looking to provide that one-stop shop for you, which is fantastic. And if you can make the argument that's the way it always should have been. They have a mobile app to cover you for that as well. If you need to get onboarded, where you can actually just easily, put money in with a credit card, I believe is the easiest way to do so, using their services. Another one doing a lot of moat building is Uniswap. Uniswap has their own layer 2 called Unichain. That's kind of the source of truth for a lot of their operations that they're trying to do as well. They have their Uniswap app for Uniswap Mobile, with a wallet and everything that you need to really do everything here inside of their specific ecosystem that they're looking to do. And you can easily swap now between all different types of blockchains. A year ago, that really wasn't a thing. You could easily bridge between blockchains, maybe swap between them if they're layer 0 compatible, like if they use Stargate or something like that. But now we have cross-chain vaults, we have cross-chain atomic swaps, cross-chain lending. We have all kinds of things that are now things you can do because of a lot of the technology that's happened in the last year. I will tell you, for a lot of people who are new to our programs, they get very easily overwhelmed because there's just so much to choose from. I can honestly just tell you the key to that is to just trust in what we do. We've been doing this for for roughly about 5 years, and we've thrived through every era of the story of decentralized finance. So lean on our success and our experience to learn the right way to go about this, because our safety and security are the biggest pillars of what we teach, and it's all just about just doing it. I've helped people who are young. I've helped grandmothers do this, and it's brought me to tears how they've been able to just easily take the information and create their own financial journey. They've got the skills to do it now. So regardless of the market condition, they know exactly how to act to keep their investments going and going well. It's more than just trading. In fact, we don't do a ton of trading. We're not, if you want a trading group, there are thousands of those. We're a DeFi group. We actually work to benefit off the behavior of other investors. If that's something you want to do rather than trying to trade against them, come and check us out. Happy to hook you up with some of our free content. Anyway, Lend. Earned deposits, about 361 million. They had a thing, they had a tweet about 1 billion already. Maybe it was just 1 billion in transactions. But regardless, 361 million is nothing to sniff at or sneeze at. They've only been open a week and they're still in beta. Now, looking at these rates by themselves, 8.89%, 8.9%, these are great. Are they the best rates on Solana? No. I'll show you where those are. It's probably going to be on Camino, to be quite honest. Now we've got the high yield USDG, which is the Paxos digital dollar, at 15.5%. Tell me what bank will give you that for a stable coin or just the dollar equivalent coin. You won't find one. That beats half of Wall Street, 98% of Wall Street, to be quite honest. And you get direct access to this. You don't have to go through some accredited broker. Of course, none of this is financial advice. Do your own research. But you have access to this. You can easily fund a wallet to get into this today and start earning. People ask all the time, well, how long do I have to wait for rewards? It's instant, guys. Rewards are emitted every block. And on Solana, blocks are sub-second at this point. So you're pretty much being streamed rewards instantly. You can claim them whenever you like, obviously. I'm just kind of shining a light on Solana today. Normally we talk about EVM. But there's a lot of things to look at on Solana, mainly because, if I'm being honest, Solana's not much of a DeFi chain. That's a hot take. That's a super hot take. Most things on Solana are like meme coins, NFTs, and meme coins. Tell me I'm wrong. Anyway, but they're getting more DeFi protocols on there, right? If I go to DeFi Llama, which is one of our sources of truth, and go to the chains, Solana is now the number 2 protocol by TVL in all of decentralized finance. Now, it says 357 protocols. I can tell you I have never really seen anything outside the top 25. Okay, I mean, there's a couple here, like DeFi Tuna. I mean, ultimately, there's like maybe 15 protocols that are DeFi focused. The rest are like meme coin things. They got a couple of really good perp dexes. Got some liquid staking facilities, of course. But outside of that, not a ton, in my personal opinion, that are worth using. You know, yeah, there's plenty of things. Yeah, there's people farming, other smaller protocols. Great, good for you. That's not where I'm going to be. I'm going to be where all the money is. And most of that is on some of the higher stuff in the top 10, as well as on EVM chains. Because that's one thing we've learned. High yield comes from volume. You want yield? Go where everybody's at. Because again, we are benefiting off the behavior of other investors. So back to the narrative part of this. Cross-chain interoperability, lending, single-sided lending with flash loans is, in my opinion, one of the new narratives. Because in the face of volatility, right? Because if I'm looking at what volatility looks like right now, as you can see, we're not very flat on any of this, right? We're seeing a lot of movement up and down, a lot of chop, as we like to call it, a lot of froth. And either you're going to get chopped to death trying to trade this, or you can actually smarten up and literally LP. Play off the behavior of other investors. Now, we need those investors, those traders, right? Because we do need the action. People defending resistance, people pushing support, stuff like that. We do need that. But you can do both. In fact, I recommend you do both. You don't have to just be DeFi and no trading. That's fine. If you love to trade, you love to trade. We have a lot of great tools out here that I would recommend, specifically if you want to trade. And I'm going to put up a code for one of our friends in our network, Symphony.io. They, in my opinion, they have the best agentic trader in all of the world. So easy, so good, so fast, and it works in the background across multiple blockchains using intents. I've got a if you check us out at school.com/beacon, I'm going to have a referral code for you that you can use as a thank you for for introducing you to Symphony. But once you use Simpson, which is their AI agent, you probably won't use anything else. I'll be very honest. Now it's still in beta. They're accepting all kinds of feedback. Please join their Discord, check them out, that type of thing. And again, this is another part of the narrative, right? Trading with AI bots. You can find them all over the place, right? And people ask me all the time, Chris, how do you feel about bots? I'm like, bots are great until they're not. AI agents are a little bit different because they're trained models on specific behaviors and they have more things to them. Bots are generally just forks of one guy's script. Some guys make a couple of tweaks on it, but agents are completely different in my opinion because you can speak to them with natural language, you can do research. This is all the stuff that's part of this narrative that you need to be looking at. So again, savings accounts, using AI agents, these are all things that you can do to stretch your money and multiply your money quicker. And that's the key. And hopefully not lose money, because people ask me all the time, Chris, how do I make money in crypto? I was like, it's simple. You don't lose it. Do that and you're going to get right. Back to Jupiter. Now, we recently did a masterclass on this, but the one thing I was hoping that Jupiter had ready was their flash loan leverage multiplier system. Because now I can take Solana, which currently validator staking is around 7 to 9%. On 3.5x leverage, 3.8x leverage, I can get up to 27%. Much better, my personal opinion. Granted, you're borrowing against the USD, which is a stablecoin pegged to the euro. Yeah. This one's good for all of our friends in JLP. We've been in JLP since it was under $2. It's at $5.41 right now. 66%. That's almost as good as it is at Camino with the multiply. So this is a really great way from a narrative standpoint to diversify your portfolio. One thing that you need to do is make sure you are not overinvested in any one portfolio, in any one position. Why? Because none of this is regulated and counterparty risk. What happens if there's an exploit that no one saw coming? You would want to be diversified so it wouldn't hurt you all that badly. These are all things we talk about in our free content on Total Value Lock, so feel free to check out that information. So the other narrative I wanted to talk about that's out there. So we've got lending with supply lending, flash loan leverage. We've got AI agents, AI trading terminals. These are all fantastic. Cross-chain interoperability. All of these narratives are here in one, kind of in a couple different spots, and that's the main thing. What am I talking about right now? Prediction markets. This is pretty large news. This time last year, Polymarket was just a prediction market project on the Polygon Layer 2 blockchain, an Ethereum L2 sidechain, if you will. They're now mainstream. They're official partner of Twitter or X as a prediction market partner. Very important because we're going to start seeing prediction markets everywhere. If I'm being very honest, we're going to see them in a lot of different spots. So this is a narrative you can actually get into, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Shout out to our friends at Axel, because I'm going to be taking over their page. What I like about Axel is that they know how to get to their users. They are a mobile-first app where you can earn 6 to 10% automated savings accounts using these stablecoin pools. Set and forget. Come back. Enjoy the profits, because I can tell you now, you're going to make way more money in something like this on your phone than you ever will at your bank, at your credit union. And that's a fact, because they're not going to offer these rates. Why? Because they can't. Their system's broken. Shout out to all the bankers, though. I don't mean to crap on your industry because I used to work in mortgage. I get it. Polymarket. Some of these things are stupid, but some of them can be interesting, right? Because you have the ability to hedge your bet in some way. What do I mean by that? So, September 17th is a big day, right? The decision to cut rates. I'm still of the ilk that they're going to cut 25 in September and then 50 in November. I really do think that. The job numbers aren't good. The unemployment numbers aren't good. So this now warrants, from a data standpoint, for Chairman Powell to cut rates. I don't think 25 is enough, to be quite honest. Is he going to get? Is President Trump going to get 300 like he wants, so he can be in the same group as like the Seychelles and the Maldives and Bangladesh? No, we've never had more than 100 basis point drop ever in history. So, regardless of how you feel about the data or his policies, I do think 75 is definitely very reasonable for the end of the year. It'll cause risk on assets to move, which is good. We definitely would like to see more of that leg up. So we see Bitcoin at 150K, which is probably where it's going to be peaking for this year, in my personal opinion. So what you can do is you're buying the 88 cent yes, you're getting a little bit of return on that. But then you could also buy the no here and win that bet as well. So that's kind of a way to kind of hedge your bet, right? There's a lot of people doing it in the name of quote unquote predicting the market. They're not gambling, they're just predicting the market. Now there are multiple types of markets that people have created, and there's multiple of these specific protocols, period. There's at least 5 that are out there. Kalshi is one, Myriad Markets on Abstract is another, Drift on Solana. There's quite a few that are out there. Zeta Markets, no, that's not a prediction market, that's a perp dex. But we're going to see more of these markets take shape now that it's happened. Now that this is a thing, this is going to open the floodgates for a lot of people making prediction markets. And frankly, as a developer for multiple decades now, when you're learning how to do programming for smart contracts, a prediction market or a voting application is one of the first things you learn. There's nothing inherently crazy about coding this. So most people can frankly vibe code something like this and be on their way. It's all a matter of getting the liquidity, getting the right marketing, because we've also learned that good tech does not equal good coin. That's just kind of how it works out. So, narrative standpoint. Being in these things will lead you to more opportunities. Researching about these things will lead you to new opportunities. You need the edge that you need, feel free to join us at Total Value Locked. But I do want to just talk a little bit more about why these narratives are important, because you have access to this now. You've always had access to this. The speed at which you could come down to this space has always been a little nutty, but now, I mean, if I go to Coinbase, I can withdraw ETH and USDC, which I can buy. Well, it's not completely free. It's inexpensive, but I can bring them down to any blockchain I want on Coinbase for mostly free. At least all the big ones we go to, it's free. And you can go in with your wallet, have control over that. I'm not gonna say it's unprecedented. It's refreshing to see a financial system where you are the key holder. You have the ability to decide how your money is going to be spent and used. In fact, you get to control. You don't get to control the rates because the rates are kind of controlled by supply and demand through an algorithm like that. But you get to decide. You get to decide exactly what type of rates that you want to get. Yes, that's 41%. No, I'm not going to talk about it. They exist. $128 on a stablecoin coupon bond that expires November 20th. What's the difference here? Oh, this is for the staked USDAI version. Interesting. Some of these are just plain nutty. Unichain. Looks like they've calmed down. Avalanche. Shout out to all the AVAX folks. 1,048. 10x leverage. USDT, USDC, two of the largest centralized stablecoins in existence. 1183 USDT AUSD. Yes, these rates are real. Am I going to talk about it? No. Does it have a lot to do with the ridiculous utilization rate here? Yeah. Is it going to remain this way? No, not always. But even if it was a tenth of that, still better than what your bank can do. And you get quick settlement. You get your money back right away. What I'm hoping for you and anybody you know who's curious about this that watches this is you definitely don't want to suffer from Dunning-Kruger survivor bias syndrome, right? You're not like, I'm going to show you this today, and 2 days later you're going to come and you're like, oh, it's not the same thing. It's clearly a scam. No. Supply and demand determine this. But understand the potential of what's out here, right? That's the part about digital assets. I'm not calling it crypto, by the way, because a stablecoin, in my opinion, is not crypto. You're not mining for it. It's a digital asset whose value is pegged to another liquid asset. Digital assets are the future. DeFi is the future of finance, the future of when we doing business. Guys, they've built this entire system. There's 200 active blockchains and more. All of this was created without spending one taxpayer dime, penny, fraction of a penny, none of it. And it's all out here for you to check out. Will some of you think this is too good to be true? Probably. And that's fine. We've been here for 5 years, guys, thriving, doing this. All right. So yeah, show them this video. It's out there. But be safe. Want to learn how the best way to get safe and, obviously get all that? Join us, school.com/beacon. Check out our Start Here post. Get a message from myself and my co-founder, Andrew. And get to see all of our offerings. We offer multiple. Definitely check it out. We have a lot of free content. I mean, there's a ton of free content here with regards to starting on the knowledge path. You hungry enough for it? Come on, read it. Check it out. It's out there, guys. Generational transfer of wealth, passive income streams like you've never seen before. It's all out here. I'm not here to scam you. I'm not here to sell you snake oil. Just showed you everything. I'm here because I'm passionate about it. I want to make DeFi accessible to everybody because everybody deserves this. I talk to people all the time, or I hear stories from people, they're getting scammed by all these terrible sites. It's because they're putting their money in the hands of someone that they can't trust. You don't have to trust me either, to be quite honest, but I'm out here giving it to you. Come out and check it out for yourself. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, but I'm telling you I'm not wrong. You can come out here and do this. I've seen people of all ages do this. We all deserve the chance to come out here and find the best ways to work our money, our hard-earned money that's losing 15% year over year due to inflation. Remember that. 6 months from now, you kind of wish you would have started 6 months ago, right? You don't have to sit there and worry about that. Come try it out today. Guys, that's our show for today. We do this every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. We do this specifically for community training. It's called Beat the Banks. Why? Because we're beating the banks, providing you strategies to beat the banks. To be great, competent investors in this space of what we call decentralized finance, which includes LPs, staking, NFTs, perp dexes, letting and borrowing. There's probably I think I counted 16 different mechanisms that you can do here. And they're all great. They're all novel. New things are coming out every day. But yeah. The hard part is getting started, right? So go with people you trust, and hopefully that's us. I think we've done a really great job of keeping things transparent. One thing I can tell you that's different about us is that I'm a university professor. I have built an entire university to help you get from 0 to 1. I go to events. I also do all the business development for Beacon. People in this industry know who we are. They love what we do. Why? Because we're doing the grunt work they don't want to have to do. As a protocol, they're like, oh, cool, we built this. I don't want to work on getting people there outside of marketing. They want to work with people like us who help educate the public on how to become more financially literate in this digital asset ecosystem, which is what you will learn when you come to visit our stuff. Are there other communities out there that do this? Sure. Go check out our YouTube video if you want. You want to get the edge? You want to be with people who do this all the time and are always at the bleeding edge? Come see us. I promise you. We're good people. With that said, I got to go make sure my kids have been fed. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you out there. Get those yields. Keep beating those banks. Beacons up. Banks down. Take care, everybody. See you next Wednesday for our podcast.